So Chrono Odyssey is an up-and-coming open-world MMORPG similar to Archage Chronicles, and it's been published by Kakao Games, who are handling the localization and the community side of things. The game is being developed by Chrono Studio in Unreal Engine 5. Chrono Studio are a South Korean development company and are a subsidiary of MPixel, who are known for the MMO Grand Saga. It'll be available on PC via Steam, PS5 and Xbox, which moves us on to the next topic of when is Chrono Odyssey actually releasing. So Chrono Odyssey is set to release in the 4th quarter of 2025, with it currently being available on all platforms upon release. Currently we know that there's been some testing in 2024 that were both internal and closed testing. Now, they did have a 14-day focus in May 2024, which was a group of 65 participants aimed at gathering initial feedback on the gameplay mechanics, and then another test in July 2024, which was a combat-focused system test. This was a small-scale test which focuses on combat improvements, and which 70% of the testers provided positive feedback for it. So realistically, that is fairly decent for 70% of the testers to give that amount of feedback, but it does show there is some work to be had. So the one thing we do know as well is that they've actually now opened up their own Steam page for playtesting, which is yet to have a date confirmed on it, but if you head over to there, you can click to get in on the playtest. Whether you will or not, I'm not sure how many they're bringing in, but the faster you get on it, the better your chances will be. So one of the moderators in the unofficial Discord said the official Discord will come out before the playtest, and that they've been working on the Discord since December, but didn't want to get people in too early, so we're not sat there for 3 months with no news. Now this sounds to me like the ball's getting ready to go. They're wanting to get people in the Discord, they've prepared for it. The launch for the test might be actually potentially in the next couple of weeks, next couple of months. I think it's going to be sooner rather than later, and then leading into the Q4 after the test we'll get that launch. So what systems are exactly going to be planned for Chrono Odyssey, or is it going to be kind of a pay-to-win shell of an MMO? Well, so far from what I've seen, I think it's actually sounding better and better the more I do my research, and I initially anticipated this to be absolutely garbage, if I was honest. Kind of was a bit ignorant, but now I look more into it and I do my research, it's actually looking like a really good MMO that's going to offer a lot of different systems. So far we don't know too much about Chrono Odyssey, as it is a new IP and the testing has all been NDA closed. So what we're going to do first is we're going to jump into what we know about the actual combat. Now Chrono Odyssey is set to have a full action combat system, which is going to include the performance of basic attacks, defending attacks, you can even dodge, and obviously your class abilities. There's also a plan to have a weapon switching system that will allow players to switch between 2 equipped weapons so you can adapt between combat situations. And to add to all that, they do plan to have a dynamic AI when it comes to mobs within the game, so that the mobs have unpredictable behaviour, so that players are kept on their toes while playing the game. However, we're going to have to see how that all works in game and how interactive it is or engaging. But if that is what they say and it does play out that way, I am all for an MMO that challenges you, that things are not just cheesed easily. That would be a breath of fresh air, so I welcome that, and hopefully that's what we get. So another system we know about is the class system, which they're actually going to call jobs, similar to how Final Fantasy have named theirs in their MMO. So far they've revealed the Chrono Odyssey is going to have 6 distinct classes, and each of them is planned to have a unique playstyle and abilities. Now the classes that seem to be confirmed so far is the Swordsman, the Ranger, the Sorcerer, the Berserker, the Paladin, and the Assassin, but we'll have to wait and see and test around. But from the trailer, seeing some of these classes in action, I actually really like the way they look, and I'm looking forward to seeing how complex and in-depth it is when you come to customization. So apart from the action combat being in an MMO of this style, a lot of it you've kind of heard before. So what is one of the unique systems, the original thing the Chrono Odyssey is doing? And they call that the time manipulation system, that we've seen multiple times featured in the trailers. Now this is done through what they call the Chronotector, which in the game is an artifact that grants the player the ability to manipulate time, such as stopping time, rewinding time, and even having access to other timelines, which can help you discover hidden paths or even secrets within them paths. How this is going to work, or if it's even gonna work in PvP situations, we're yet to find out. We know there is PvP. I think this could be fairly broken, or maybe reversing time would be limited to like 10 seconds and you just bounce back to an area, or maybe maybe it's instant PvP and this will be disabled. We really don't know, and all we can do is speculate. So in any MMO, one of the key features is the PvE that you inevitably will get involved in on a day-to-day basis. Now, the story of Chrono Odyssey is that players will assume the role of the world mover. Now, a world mover is one of the few who have survived the world being destroyed and who possess a chronotector. In the game, the player will interact with several factions. As the game unfolds, these include the Guardians, the Void, the Broken, the Outcast, and the World Movers. Chrono Odyssey is also set to feature a variety of other PvE content, from dungeons to large-scale raids. Now, these could be great, especially with the action combat within the game. As well as all this, the game boasts a seamless and unrestricted open world, which features many different biomes, including grasslands, snowlands, swamps, and probably even more, but they haven't elaborated on that yet. This open world will even have open world events for players to participate in, such as field bosses. Now, when it comes to what's going to be in the gathering system at launch, we do know we're going to be getting logging, mining, skinning, and herbalism, which will be used for crafting. When it comes to crafting, we know that the crafting is going to take place for weapons, armor, and consumables. So when it comes to the PvP, so far nearly nothing has actually been mentioned, and the testers are under NDA, so they haven't really said anything, and I don't even know if they actually tested that. However, it is listed on the Steam as an online PvP under Steam's About the Game section. You can also look forward to getting rewards for clearing dungeons, group dungeons, and PvP content. It looks like this is going to be something we'll have to keep an eye on as we get closer to launch, but hopefully we'll hear about it more then. I don't actually know how the PvP is going to work. I've kind of brainstormed a few different ideas. Maybe it's battlegrounds, maybe it's open world events, maybe it's certain days, certain times or cycles. I really don't know. Maybe it's castles. We just could only speculate. There's so many ways that could do this. All we can hope for is that it can retain players, that it's got good replayability, and that it's actually fun and well implemented. And no matter what they do, if they offer that, then brilliant. At least they are saying there's some PvP there for people like myself. Regardless of the PvP, I would have still tested the game, but if they want to keep me long term, they're going to need life skills, and they're going to need something to PvP with at the end, or at least some end game, more semi-hardcore to hardcore replayability loop. So like in my previous two videos, maybe more the Archage one, it always come down to I had done the videos, I'm hyped about the game, everything's brilliant, I'm kind of looking through and thinking this sounds really good, and then the monetization hits, which is make or break for some. Now, what is the monetization gonna be for Chrono Odyssey? We know they're Korean based company, and we know they love pay to win over there. We also do know they are looking more globalist now and thinking more about the West, and you can see them getting more in line with Western monetization, which is actually brilliant. And especially with some of the recent things we've heard about Archage, is also Kakao saying they don't want to make it unfair monetization. So the facts we actually do know about Chrono Odyssey. So Chrono Odyssey is currently planned to be a buy to play MMO, meaning players will need to buy the game up front and will have a no sub fee. So far there's been no official confirmation regarding microtransactions within the game, which has been a concern for some people due to its connection to Kakao Games, best known for BDO or Black Desert Online, which is a great MMO but does feature heavy pay to win mechanics, which I personally think is a huge downside, and is probably why the player base is nowhere near as big as it could have been. However, this and the PvP is something we'll have to keep an eye on as we get closer to the launch, get in the Discord when it opens, keep an eye on the Twitter, and wait for more facts to come out. But it does look nice, it does sound promising, and if they can get the monetization and the PvP down, a good replayability at the end game, and a nice loop, I think this could be a big hitter and potentially being one of the top 5 to 10 MMOs long term, depending on how the launch and the future support and the pay to win goes in the West. The fact that they're putting it on console, PC, and Xbox is another win, same as Throne and Liberty, same as Archage Chronicles. I think this will expand massively out on the player base. Also, there is the latest news out now that they do have a Discord, so head over to the official Discord, get yourself in there for the latest announcements and news, check out the guild recruitment channel when that drops, and look for our post because we will be heavily recruiting for Chrono Odyssey. So if you're looking for a semi-hardcore to hardcore organised guild that'll be pushing all endgame content, and you want a close-knit vibe without the elitist toxicity, we're the ones for you. So check that out, join the Discord, fill in the application, and if you're right for us and we're right for you, we'll go from there. But as always, I really do appreciate you watching. Gonna try and keep getting the content out. You know, Chrono Odyssey, Archage, Ashes, these are going to be prominent things on the channel, as well as June Awakening. We're just going to keep playing, grinding them out, and hoping we finally get that game that we can really jump into, that I can cover for myself and really get invested in. But for now, we're kind of dabbling between MMOs. I think that's actually the majority of the MMO player base right now. But in the next couple of years, I really do see a pretty solid MMO coming out, and these are definitely going to be ones fighting it out and keeping people engaged. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Are you happy about this? If you're already written it off, are you giving it the time of day, or are you kind of just sick of MMOs in general till someone kind of gives you more faith in them and actually allows you to feel like you can invest in that game? But as always, I really do appreciate you watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.